It began in silence. The year was 1692, winter in Salem Village, Massachusetts, a small Puritan town built on faith, discipline, and fear of sin. Every shadow carried meaning, every illness a warning from God. Inside one modest home, two young girls, Betty Paris, aged 9, and Abigail Williams, aged 11, began to tremble. They screamed, contorted, and spoke in strange tongues. The town physician had no answer, and so the whispers began. Whispers of something darker, something unholy. "The devil walks among us," they said. Those words, spoken in fear, would soon become a storm that no one could stop. The people of Salem were not strangers to fear. They lived under strict Puritan laws, where joy was temptation and curiosity was sin. To question the church was to question God himself. So when the strange affliction spread, when more girls began to convulse and cry, the villagers didn't ask why. They asked who, and the answers came quickly. Names, whispered through trembling lips. Tituba, a slave from the Caribbean. Sarah Good, a beggar woman. Sarah Osborne, who rarely attended church. Within days, the people of Salem believed they had found the devil's servants. Their fear gave them purpose, and their faith gave them reason. The first trials began in the small meeting house near Salem Center. Wooden benches, flickering candles, eyes full of judgment. The accused were brought in, trembling, bound, praying. The judges asked questions they could never answer. "Do you serve Satan? Have you signed his book? Who else have you seen with the devil?" And in that moment, truth no longer mattered. Every answer, whether yes or no, meant death. To deny witchcraft was to insult the court. To confess was to save your life, at the cost of your soul. Neighbors turned against each other, mothers against daughters, even children testified, believing it was holy to accuse. Salem had become a place where fear became evidence and silence became guilt. In June 1692, a special court was established, the Court of Oyer and Terminer, meaning to hear and determine. Led by Judge Samuel Sewall and William Stoughton, the trials became a spectacle. Spectral evidence, dreams, visions, and invisible spirits was accepted as truth. People swore they saw ghosts of the accused tormenting them, and the judges believed it. On June 10th, Bridget Bishop was the first to hang. A mother, a tavern owner, a woman accused because she dressed too brightly. One by one, more followed. Rebecca Nurse, Martha Carrier, John Willard. Names that echo even now, carved in stone, forever bound to Salem's shame. And then came the story of Giles Corey, a farmer in his 70s. He refused to confess, refused to feed the madness. For that defiance, he was pressed beneath heavy stones. A punishment meant to break both bone and will. Each time the sheriff demanded he confess, he answered only with two words: more weight. Those were his last words before his chest gave way. He died not as a witch, but as a man who refused to surrender truth. His courage outlived the court that killed him. By autumn, 20 souls had been taken. 19 were hanged, one pressed to death. The youngest was a child of 5. The gallows stood tall above Salem, a wooden frame against the gray sky. Each execution drew crowds. Some came to watch in silence, others in prayer. The town believed it was cleansing itself of evil, but in truth, it was drowning in its own fear. When the final rope fell silent, the people realized they had not destroyed witches. They had destroyed themselves. By the end of 1692, the trials collapsed under their own weight. Spectral evidence was discredited. The governor's own wife was accused, and suddenly the madness ended. The courts were dissolved, prisoners were released. But the damage could not be undone. Families mourned, faith shattered. The name Salem became a wound that history would never let heal. Years later, the judges confessed their sins publicly. One wrote, I desire to take the shame of it upon myself. But for the families of the dead, no apology could bring peace. Today, Salem is a quiet town. Tourists walk its cobblestone streets. Museums tell the story of hysteria. And in the old burial ground, small stone markers bear the names of the innocent. When the wind passes through the graveyard, it carries whispers, voices that say, "We were innocent." Those voices are not cries of vengeance. They are reminders. Reminders that fear, when left unchecked, can destroy even the purest of hearts. The Salem Witch Trials were not about witches. They were about people, and how easily people can become monsters when they mistake fear for faith. History remembers the trials, but it often forgets the hearts that broke beneath them. This is not just a story about Salem. It's a story about all of us. About what happens when fear is louder than reason, and when faith loses compassion. This was Salem, the place where fear became law, and faith became a weapon. And don't forget to subscribe to Evermore, where history isn't just told, it's felt.